Hello everyone and welcome to the SMARTUpdate webinar today. Thank you everybody for attending. I'm going to start right now. Okay, a few words to the team behind the monitors and the headsets. I'm Florian Todose, product manager for SMARTUpdate. And on my side is Jan Stadtfang, CEO and creator of SMARTUpdate product. He came with the idea, so we created here at BMW. A few words to the agenda. This webinar will be recorded, so you will get an email with the recorded version of this webinar. You can review it at any time. Then we have a presentation part where I'm going to go through a few important topics. Then we have a live demo part where I will show you directly in Creo how SMARTUpdate works and highlights. And afterwards, we have a Q&A session where everybody can ask questions and we can answer. You can also write your questions during the webinar or during the presentation in the question box in the tool, in the GoToWebinar tool, and we will answer them either at the end or if there's no more time left, we can also answer them via email. Good. Well, I have an overview. We have 3 topics. What is SMARTUpdate? What's the motivation for using SMARTUpdate? And overview of the current functionality. To the question, what is SMARTUpdate? Maybe some of you have heard of it, maybe some didn't. But anyway, here the clarification. SMARTUpdate started 2008 as an alternative to model check and came up to be both alternative and completion. You can check with SMARTUpdate completely different way than with model check many things, and you can also correct the data with SMARTUpdate more meaningful and easier. At the same time, you have with SMARTUpdate more an easier setup and usage. And but SMARTUpdate can also use model check to run other checks which we don't support because they are already in model check implemented. So you can either use one or the other or both. Many companies do this like this. On the other side, SMARTUpdate is a software solution to ensure your CAD data quality. You have many situations where your CAD data gets very various versions of naming for the layers, for the dimensions, for the features, for the start features, for parameters, and so on. And every user names it differently, adds endings and so on to the names. You want to have them all cleaned up and have only one standard all over the company. So with SMARTUpdate, you can take all models, take them through some kind of filter, and update all the data with a few clicks. You will see later in the live demo how it works. The same, you can integrate your data from your suppliers or from just the data downloaded from the internet easier into your design. You download it, let SMARTUpdate run over it with the actual standard, and afterwards you can just assemble it. And maybe the most important, it's a very helpful tool to help you implement the embedded design concept. You can set up all the necessary elements like orientations, layer states, and so on, combine states, everything that belongs to the embedded, and add them all at once to all your models, which is very easy task. It's not possible to add them by hand to maybe thousands or even millions of models, depends how many you have in the company. So using a tool like this, it's a very good possibility to automatize and speed up the things. Okay, why would you like to, or would you want to use SMARTUpdate? You can master considerable deviations from the standard. As I said, along the whole history of the company, or through buying new companies, there are many deviations from the actual standard that you want to use. It's about naming the scheme of the parameters, or the start features, or number of the layers and their function and so on. You always have the need to correct it, and you can correct it manually if you want, but it's much more safe to correct it automatically with the software. You also have the possibility to correct large amount of data in batch mode. You can apply it on a Windchill folder, on a Windchill workspace folder if you want, or a local network folder. It depends where you have your data. You can apply filters on models, like filter models by existing parameters and their values, or existing object attributes from Windchill. For example, if you have library parts checked out, you don't want to correct them because they shouldn't be changed. So you have the possibility to skip them. On the other side, you can make your CAD data suitable for PDM link, for checking into the Windchill system. Either you want to implement this system or you have it already. Before you put your data in the Windchill system, you need to ensure that the quality complies with the standards, and there is a functionality which is called the gatekeeping functionality, which you can use to avoid the users to check in models which are not ready yet, which don't meet the quality criteria you need or you request. And also, again, one of the most important points is when you want to implement the MBD adjustments for your company, it's necessary to have a tool like this to do it, because you can overtake these elements from your existing models. If you have defined these elements already, like combined states and everything that belongs to this, and afterwards, after you took it over, you just can apply this on all these models. Good. Now I'm going to show you an overview of the current functionality. There is much more functionality around these basic functionalities, which you can see, like setting up conditions and categories, and defining different paths where to go when you check and correct some things, because you have different checks and corrections for for the plastic parts, for the sheet metal part, and so on. You have different situations you want to take care of, but in the end, for every part and every kind of part you have, and in assembly and drawing, you have in the end these functionalities which you can see here. So you can check and correct parameters. You can basically everything you can do interactively in Creo. You can also do with SMARTUpdates. Create, edit, delete, change values, type, description, everything, designate, and so on. The layers you can also check and correct, create them, add them from the start model, overtake rules if you need them. The rules in your current part will be compared and overtaken. For the orientations, you can create as well. Actually, for every element, you can mostly create, edit, and delete. It depends what you want to do. For the orientations, You can also set up the orientation matrix, so you get the orientation just like you set it up previously. Then you have also the possibility to take changes on the start features. You want, for example, to create your start features if they are missing, to rename them to comply with the current standard, to translate maybe, to reorder them so that you have them always in the same order in the model tree from the position from 1 through 8. For the relations, you have many possibilities. We have an engine which allows you to do anything you can imagine. You can replace, extract sub parts of the relation and translate these parts and replace them and create new relations. For this, it's, for example, the case when you want to translate a relation from, I don't know, from China to USA or something like this. There was the case. If else blocks and so on, there are many possibilities. As well, you can set up units, create new unit systems, and check and correct and everything. Model properties. This is the DTL properties you need now for setting up fonts and everything. Combined states, you know, from the MBD system. So combined state, layer states, annotations, dimensions, and simplified representations, they are all together in this. You can also replace materials. If you have old materials you want to get rid of, you just can run this in batch mode over many parts, and you can replace all the materials with this functionality. Accuracy as well, you can set it up and also don't regenerate and set it back if it's something goes wrong. Configuration options if needed as well. Tolerance standards, and of course, if the functionalities are not enough, you are always able to record a map key and run it. And of course, you can also run model check to run different checks that you need. For the drawing, you can also set up and check and correct parameters, layers, the same way like for the part in assembly. You also can change drawing properties. It's the same like model properties, the DTL properties. For the drawing program, there are companies which have and still use this, and they mostly want to get rid of these relations from the drawing program. You can also do this. It works very well. Drawing nodes, you can find, replace, rename, translate, and everything. For drawing symbols as well, you can remove the unused symbols and count them and create and so on. And here as well, run map keys, run model check, the same like for the part in assembly. Good, now we came to the live demo part. I'm going to switch to Creo. And I prepared for you today 3 examples. One first example is about the start features. And we have here 3 scenarios. First scenario is we have start features. They are named, we know their name, but their position and the name is wrong. So we know, for example, we have 2 plants, one plant in Germany, one plant in USA, and we get a part from Germany, and we want to make it ready to be assembled in a USA assembly. So we first need to translate these names of the features to be able to work with this. So we have we set up a rule set here. It's really complex, which covers almost any situation. And in this rule set, we can with this rule set we can check the part, and we see here a report that shows us that some elements have been found. For example, this datum plane must be has been found here, must be renamed to from rechts to right, and so on. Yeah, so you see here the actual name is rechts and the target is right. You can just run it and everything will be put in place. The same, he finds the coordinate system and so on, the axis, and also finds in the list of rules which action is suitable for this case. So this is the report for the user. You open it, you see everything, you click here on this button to select everything and click on update. And after you do this, everything here is renamed, put on the right place, and everything is ready. It looks like this. Nothing here to see. It means everything is green. Yeah, so it worked. We have a second scenario where we have also here some start features present, but like you see, their names and positions are completely broken and really incomprehensible. So we have the same rule set which we defined, which is able to recognize any situation. And here we see that this plane right is found here, but we need to reorder it. Yeah, so this plane right needs to go on the position 1, and so on. For the other elements, for example, here this name, this plane has been found. This plane with the name 2 and must be renamed to top, and so on. The same with the other, for the other planes and the axis and so on, and they need to be renamed and so on. They have been found, and they have been found by their orientation in space. So here I said I want to find an axis or a plane in the position between 1 and 7 of type datum plane or axis with the orientation X and so on, or Z. And for example, in this case, this is the orientation which I search for, plus Z. It has been found, recognized, and it doesn't matter the name. You see the name is a wildcard. It can be anything, but it recognizes it and wants to rename it to A_Z, like we want to have it. So the same, we click on this, select everything, and correct everything. So as you see, everything is put in place by this rule set. Yeah, it's very flexible. If you wish to test it to see how it works, we can provide you a demo version of the software, demo license, and also this configuration, so you can take a look. You can just load one of your parts and see if it works, how it performs. It's rather complex, but it's very flexible and very powerful. Okay, and we have the the last scenario where we have downloaded a part from the internet, and we want to add these features because we don't have them. So at the same, the system recognizes everything is red. This means we need to add the features. So yeah, just the same, click on everything and update, and all the features are added like needed. So as you see, this system allows us to put the start features on the right place. Doesn't matter what setup we have. There are cases where we have 2 or 3 companies which have been joined together, and we have 2 or 3 standards, and you need some kind of system to join all these standards into only one. So this SMARTUpdate is a tool which has been used in such cases very, very successfully. Okay, the next example I want to show you is about MBD. Well, I have here configuration. It's an empty configuration where I have defined here for the MBD design a group with several subgroups like layers, orientations, layer states, combined states. This is what I want to add to my parts. So I created, I defined these elements already in my start part, and want to overtake them to put them into the to overtake them for the other parts, like maybe hundreds or thousands or so. What I do is I can create one by one these elements, but there would be maybe, I don't know, maybe 100 elements, yeah, and it's a lot of work. But what you can do, if you define them already in your start part, you can import from the start part. So you have this function here, checks from model. Here you can select the start part, and the system shows you what you can see in this part. You can pick up parameters. We don't need now parameters. We need only the layers for the MBD. We select everything and add them. Yeah, and as you see, everything has been overtaken, and we have here a fully configured layer. And also here, as you see, it's they're coming from the template, start PRT, and also the rules, if any are defined, will be overtaken. The same we can do with the orientations. We'll take everything, layer states, and in the end also combined states. You will see that I will show you right now. The combined states have dependencies on the layer states and on the orientations and on the layers. So every one of these, yeah, you see here you have different setups or settings for the layer states, and all these are very difficult to create by hand. But with this import functionality, everything is very easy. Okay, now I will take these settings which I just imported, and I will also add them to the assembly mode, so that I can also take advantage of them in the assembly mode. I will save, and now I'm ready to go, and I can now add everything to the models, to the other models. We will do this in a batch mode. We have here this functionality, the batch update model. Yeah, when we click on this, we have we see a list of the models that we have, and in this list we have all the models in this folder. For some models, we maybe want to filter to see only a subset of them, because some of these models have different settings. For example, this part is a library part, yeah, so we want to exclude this. For this, we have this functionality, filter models, and we have here this setting. We have an object attribute, which is a property from Windchill. The name of this property is release status, and then the value is released. So if this value is equal with released, then we want to exclude this model. So we select this this filter, we click OK, and then it asks us if you want to filter it, and we have here a text file, object attributes txt, and this is a file that you can export in your Windchill view. You have a file export. You can export this file. It's an overview of the properties of your object. You export this file from your workspace. You have this, and then once you select it, yeah, you see here the release state on the right side is working. So the first element disappeared. Before were like 16 models. Now we have only 13. So the list has been filtered. And then you now here can also filter. If you still want to filter some more, you can filter by by searching, yeah, like this, or you can also use the regular expressions. Anyway, let's say I will correct only a few parts, so that doesn't take so long. And what the system is doing in this part is it's just Opening the parts applies layers, layer states, orientations, and combined states, and sets up all the connections between them. Finishes everything, and then closes up and saves the parts. At the end, it delivers a report what it did for every part, like creating layers and so on, just this in this order. And as you see, everything is done. You also see the number of errors which have been fixed. In some situations, the layers were already there, or maybe other elements. Okay, so this is the way the batch functionality works. And now I will show you shortly also the configurator. You've seen it already, but I will show it to you how it basically works. You can have here the possibility to load different configurations. You have here the possibility to define different domains, to create different paths, as I said, to go on like check and update only plastic parts or only sheet metal parts and so on. Here on the bottom, you define the actual rules you need. You can also define conditions and everything the same, like in this example with the start features, we had a lot of conditions we checked, do I have a part, do I have a axis on this position or in this range of positions with this properties and so on. This was a condition. If we have it, then rename it to, I don't know, right and so on. And yes, and this is the way you can define your elements. And on the other side, as you saw here, let's create just a new part. And you can check here, and here you can also switch configurations. And you see here, this is some default configuration from the software, which is the software is delivered with. And you can see here the reports, what's missing is red, what's not right or not perfect, like this feature is, the position is not matching. This is yellow, and everything which is fine and doesn't need to be changed is green. Yeah, so you just select everything, click on update, you saw this already, and then afterwards you see this report, and then again it will be checked, everything will be checked, and you see the results. Yeah, and in some cases you see here there is some problem. Yeah, so in this case, for example, as an admin, you need to go into the configurator again and see what's configured, how it's configured, and why this doesn't work. So it's for the admin is always a continuous work on the configuration until everything is fine and everything is set up, and afterwards it can be deployed to the users. And the users can open this this window with this button here, or with the update model. So if you open this with this button, you can see this window and select everything and update. And if you open with this button, it's the same, like you open the window, select and update, but without any kind of graphical interface. So this is very convenient for users which need to just at the end of the design, just need to apply the current rules and then check the part into Windshield. Okay, this was my live demo. Thank you very much. I also wanted to point out the next webinars we have today. We still have Smart Annotate and Smart Color, and they are also very useful and important tools for the embedded design. If you're interested in this, you will want to check this out and see it. And tomorrow we have Smart X Hatch and Smart Assembly. It's also very interesting tool we have, and very powerful as well. You can register for the webinars if you want at the address here on the bottom. If you have questions to our webinar and to our demonstration, just write us. Don't hesitate to contact us directly. We can provide you a demo license, the software, the demo configuration, whatever you need. We can also do a demo session to implement and show you how it works in detail. Maybe you have some special needs. We can do this everything. Also, maybe if you didn't do already, maybe you want to subscribe our newsletter to get latest informations about our products, and also go and see our YouTube channel where we all post on a regular basis updates and new functionalities from our products. Okay, thank you for your attention so far, and you will get an email with the recording. And for now, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. So I will hand over to Jan. He took over the questions and he will ask them for me.
Thanks, Florin, for the presentation. Well, I was just watching the questions, and so far I do have two questions that I forward to Florin right now. And the first one is, can you use SMARTUpdate on a whole assembly structure, or is this only a functionality that you can use on parts?
Yes, you can use it on an assembly structure and on a drawing structure. You can open the drawing at the assembly, and at the beginning, SMARTUpdate only checks the assembly. If you also want to check the structure, there is a button to load the subcomponents, and the whole structure of the assembly will be loaded and will be treated just the same like if you would open and check and correct any part individually. So just open the assembly, load all the subcomponents, click on to select all the parts from the structure, and click on update, and every part of the assembly will be updated like in the batch mode, but only for this specific assembly or drawing.
Okay, and the next question is about functionality, parameter functionality, and this is very simple. Is SMARTUpdate able to rename parameters?
Yes, SMARTUpdate can rename parameters. Anyway, you maybe need to check if this parameter is used in a relation first. So in this loop of testing that the admin has to do when setting up a configuration, as I showed you, he will certainly see that the parameter cannot be renamed, because the parameter will not be renamed directly, will be just replaced with a new one. The old one will be replaced with a new one. And so for this to be possible, you first need to remove it from the references, or also change it in the references before, which are usually the relations. So for this case, you need to create a relation check which renames your previous relation to the new name, or like with the new name of the parameter, and afterwards also rename the parameter. So this way you can rename easily parameters.
Okay, there was just another question coming in, and it reads out, is it possible to operate on non-checked out files if continued in session? So this, I believe, is a question in combination with Windchill.
Well, if you didn't check out the file, Creo checks it out automatically. There are also some configuration options you can set up for this. You can set them up. There are 3 configuration options which you can load. There is also a Smart Update configuration option to load all these config options, like Creo config options. And if you activate these options, you don't have a part checked out when you load the part or assembly, whatever you have, and check it. These parts will be checked out automatically. And these configuration options, you can also opt to set them back to the initial values, so you don't change anything.
And another question came in, and this reads as, do you have any courses or demo files for Smart Update?
We have the help from, like, online help from the software. We don't have something like a tutorial, but we have many demonstration examples for the configurations. So basically, if you want to set it up to implement it at your site, we are more than happy to go through the possibilities in an online session with you, like to focus all the attention directly on your needs and to see how this can be best implemented for you. And we can provide you with examples how to set it up, and yes, how to reach your goals.
So I believe these were all the questions that come up right now. So if you think about more questions or want to have more information about software, well, contact us directly, ask for a demo license, and ask Florian for a direct session if you're really interested in looking at the software. So thanks again for listening, for those in the US in the early morning, for those coming from the East in the late afternoon. So thanks for listening, and hope to hear you on the other webinars later on. So I will close the session right now, and see you later.
Bye.